Hey veterans, Terrell Murrell here from the VA Claims Insider. And in today's video, because so many people have asked and so many people have requested it, T, how'd you get here? So I want to talk a little bit about my journey. Well, it all started in December 1980 when I was born. And that day I decided I was going to be a sailor. Nah, just kidding. So I joined the United States Navy in 1998 and I proudly served for 14 years. Separated in the summer of 2012, and just like any other veteran who getting out of service after so long, I was trying to find my way. Worked a couple different jobs. I'm a chef by trade, so I was in the restaurant business for a long time. Stepped away from the restaurant business and did some retail. At that point, I knew I was disabled. I knew I was struggling with things that happened to me in service, but I didn't know what to do. There were no resources around. There wasn't much information out there about anything. So I did like a lot of veterans do. I fired off a claim. I sent it in, just said, yeah, I suffer from this in the service, this, and this. And I didn't have any information in there. I just sent the claim. Well, 2 years later, guess what the VA did? They denied me. That upset me because I knew what I was suffering from and I knew what I was suffering through, like many of you. At that point, I was frustrated. I was angry. I was upset. So I started to do some research and looking around the internet. And, and yes, I said internet. That's funny. I was looking around the internet. And at that point, uh, I was Googling information about the VA and I went to my Instagram page and there was this charismatic gentleman who sounded like he knew everything that he was doing and knew everything about the VA claim process. And that person is by the name of Brian Reese. Brian Reese, the founder and owner of VA Claims Insider. So I joined in the spring of 2017 and became an insider. And I was just so happy to be around a community of veterans who were trying to do the same thing I was doing, learn, educate, and understand their way through the process. At that point, I was like, yeah, I found my tribe. I know where I am. I know where I want to be. I was filing claims for mental health. I was filing claims for migraine, gastrointestinal issues, tinnitus, um, sinusitis, rhinitis, things I experienced when I was overseas. All of those things, I knew that I was in the right place with the right team of people. My journey uh, within VA Claims Insider really started off there and being part of the community. Now I'm going to share with y'all my experience while I was in VA Claims Insider and the birth of the Elite program. I told y'all I joined in the summer of 2017. That very same summer, Brian Reese jumped into the Facebook mastermind and he asked the veterans one question. Hey, who would like to be educated on the VA claim process and get shown how to get started? Just answer yes. There were so many yeses almost instantly, and I was one of them. So he knew that he had the perfect opportunity to help veterans on his hand, and he started the VA Claims Insider Elite program. The program is designed to help a disabled veteran get what they rightfully, legally, and ethically deserve with the help or the education assistance of a veteran coach. I was like one of the first 10 people to get started in this program, and I was excited. I was so happy to be a part of the VA Claims Insider Elite program. At that point, I started working with my coach. Shout out to him. And he opened my eyes to all the things that I was missing, educated me on the 38 CFR, the M21-1, all the things that I had never knew or had any clue about. I got this education from this veteran coach within VA Claims Insider. That started my journey of submitting my claims on my own. And at that point, got to 10% for tinnitus in the fall. And what happened was I was upset. I was angry, right? I'm a migraine sufferer. So that was one of the biggest things that I was struggling with. And the VA flat out denied me. So I did what most of us do. I quit. I said, let me step away from this for a little while because I'm now frustrated and angry because I don't know what to do. Got through the holidays. January came around. I had an epiphany. I said, well, at this point, the VA is not going to call me back and say, hey, T, we owe you something. Here it is. I knew that I had to do things on my own. So I started back with my coach, got back in the process, got on the whole saddle at that time. I did what was considered a reconsideration. Now you would know it affectionately as the HLR process or supplemental claim. This was prior to the change. And I resubmitted with medical evidence. Um, we have an amazing partnership with the company called Telemedica. And through that partnership, I was able to get the medical evidence that I needed and I rightfully deserved to be able to connect my disability claims. So that took me shot straight through to the summer of 2018. At that point, I got to 60%. At the same time, Brian asked the same question, and it was a little different this time, was who wants to help other disabled veterans? And I volunteered. I raised my hand. I said, this has been the best process for me and my family, and I always want to pay it forward. So I raised my hand, and I decided to journey on this path of becoming a veteran coach. I was accepted into the veteran coaching program. I started getting trained and educated on how to serve other veterans while at the same time doing my entire process as well. Um, so I became a veteran coach in August of 2018. Then I went through many C&P exams back and forth, and the C&P exam is downright the most important day of the entire claims process. It is your time to be able to have a conversation with that medical provider who's going to ask you questions on the Disability Benefits Questionnaire, or DBQ for short. And that's the document that they're going to send back to the VA to make your rating decision. Some CMP examiners are great. Some CMP examiners uh, struggle to understand what we actually are going through. And sometimes it's documented that way, but we could talk about that in another video. At that point, it was like, all right, now this is what I want to do. I'm going to serve veterans. I'm going to make sure I get what I rightfully and legally, ethically deserve. I got to 90% in the fall of 2018. Um, and nope, I got to 80% in the fall of 2018. And in the spring of 2019, I got to 90%. Well, on that same day, I decided that I didn't no longer want to work my full-time job, and this is what I was born to do. I was born to serve other veterans who serve. So I made a decision to do this on a full-time basis and still on my own journey. And by the summer of 2019, I got to 100%. Um, it wasn't without any hiccups or heartburn or pain because I went through a lot. If I give you an example of my migraines, right? They flat out denied my migraines when I had all the medical evidence that I needed. But the key to it was I didn't quit. I knew what I deserved. I knew what I needed. I knew what was rightfully mine. So I journeyed down that path to continue to get it and go after it and make sure that I got what I rightfully needed. In the fall of 2019, I got to 100% permanent and total. That same day I went to 100% permanent and total. I went down to the county office in Belton, Texas, and uh, turned in my documentation, and I got a property tax exemption on my house. At the same time, I submitted my application for disability discharge with Department of Education, and I had my student loans discharged in the tune of $175,000. All the same day, I found out that I was 100%. So as I'm going through the process and going through and getting the claims sent in and adjudicated and denied and happy, lots of ups and downs, right? So you're not alone. It's happened to us all. It's happened to the best of us. Some of it happens faster, some of it happens longer. But the moral of the story is just don't quit. So, over the past 6 years, I've helped thousands of veterans get what they legally, rightfully, and ethically deserve. And a part of that journey, really for me, is that I'm able to help those who serve this nation. I've helped Vietnam veterans. I've helped Desert Storm veterans. I've helped veterans who served on 9/11. I've helped veterans who actually joined after me. This year would have been my 26th year in the Navy, which is crazy to say. But this is all about educating veterans through the process that is very convoluted and not many people really understand. And we take pride at VA Claims Insider from being the best of the best to do it. And with all of the things that are happening around and people not understanding, people understanding, the best part of this job is actually being able to serve. So, some key things I would tell you, we call these T's keys. Some of T's keys are education, right? You want to know exactly what's going on with your disability. You want to know exactly how it's rated. So educate yourself in that process. But you don't want to sound like the doctor. What I want you to do is put actual words that you feel to it. For example, I suffer from migraines. I didn't know what the word prostrating meant at the time. I looked it up, didn't make any sense to me, but I understood that I had lost at least 3 or 4 jobs through the process of having migraines that I didn't have prior to service. What did that mean? That was my lifestyle impact, right? It was my social economic impact. I missed family time before previously at a Disney trip because I had a migraine, not being able to take my daughter to a dance, not being able to take my son to his driving lessons, things like that have impact on your disability. So, for migraine specifically, it's how long, how often, and the debilitating things that it causes in your life. So, I tell those stories, right? So, you want to tell your truth, tell it exactly like your experience. So, I often educate veterans on. You don't want to go in there and sound like a doctor unless you're actually a doctor, then it's all good. But outside of that, you want to just tell your truth and how your disability is affecting your life. It goes a long way in the process. Let the medical evidence speak for itself. Let the doctors be doctors. Let the medical professionals be medical professionals. And you tell your story about what happened to you in service, what's still happening to you now, right? That's a part of the strategy, right? The strategy is you don't want to give the VA too much information at one time because there's actual people on the other end doing it and they're going through all the information. So you want to keep it as short and sweet and as concise as possible as you're going through your journey. So don't bombard your system with a lot of things, and you want to be strategic about how you are getting your disabilities connected. For example, if you have a bad knee and you know you have a bad hip from a fall that you had in service, don't submit your knee prior to the hip because the hip isn't service connected yet if you're trying to go for a secondary. So you don't want to actually just throw everything in there all at once. The strategy part of it is very key. The most important part is medical evidence. We have a team of in our preferred provider network of licensed professionals who can do diagnosis. They can get you the medical information you need. They can create the rationale based on your medical records and evidence that you have in service and put it all together in a concise package that the C&P examiner or the VA rater can actually read and understand in their own language. Wonderful providers around there. I used them on my journey 3 or 4 times. Best thing I ever did for my claims journey was get the medical evidence that I needed to get my claim decision rated. I'm Terrell Murrell. This is VA Claims Insider. And if this video helped you or somebody you may know, then the VA Claims Insider Elite Program is the program for you. That's www.vaclaimsinsider or click the link below and get started now.